Snake. Try to remember some of the basics of CQC.
Welcome back to another CQC tutorial. Today I'm going to be showing you how to knock out your enemies. I've already made a few CQC guides on the channel, so go check those out if you want. First thing I'm going to show you is how to choke out your enemies. We're going to use a technique I showed you guys on one of my other videos. Push and hold the action button to grab your enemy from behind when you're sneaking up on them. Without letting go of the enemy, you're just going to want to push the action button multiple times. Just spam the action button. Once again, sneak up on your enemy from behind and then push and hold the action button to grab them. And then to knock them out, push the action button repeatedly really fast. When you knock out your enemy, you'll see stars floating above the enemy's head. This represents how long they're going to be knocked out for. Depending on the move you use to knock them out, they may have more stars or less stars. The stars will wear off over time, and it also depends on what difficulty you're playing on, how fast they wear off. Now this is another move to knock out your enemies. If you grab them from behind using the action button and drag them away, eventually they will get knocked out. The snake is just yanking at their neck, and over time, they'll just knock themselves out. Now notice this knockout move only has 2 stars above the enemy's head, so they will wake up sooner compared to choking them out from behind. Now here's the same guy I knocked out earlier in the video. Notice he only has 1 star above his head, and once it wears off, he's just gonna wake up and he will attack. Now this next move is one of my favorite moves, and it took a lot of practice for me to actually figure out how to do it, so I'll do my best to explain it. You're basically walking behind your enemy and slamming them down to the ground for an instant knockout. But notice only 2 stars, so it is a little less effective compared to the chokeout. Now this move takes fast button movements. You're going to want to sneak up on your enemy, push the action button, and push down on the joystick at the same exact time. Now like I said, this move is a little difficult and the button movements are a little awkward. It just takes a lot of practice to get used to, but once you get some practice in, you'll be able to do it no problem. Now be aware, you can wake up your enemies if you use CQC on them. If you hit them with a weapon or if you kick them, they wake up early. Now this next knockout move is pretty simple and straightforward. Equip a rifle or a shotgun, then use the action button to hit your enemies. Now it depends on what difficulty you're on, but if you're on extreme or European extreme, it takes around 2 hits to knock them out. But notice they only have 1 star, so they will wake up soon. Now this next move is pretty straightforward and simple. Just dive at your enemy. You do this by pushing and holding the bottom button on whatever controller you're using. Xbox, it's A, PlayStation, it's X. Now this move does take around 3 or 4 times for the enemy to finally knock out, and they only get 1 star, so it's not as effective. Now probably the most easy and popular CQC move in Metal Gear Solid 3 is the 3-hit combo. You do this by hitting that action button 3 times. You can do this if you have a weapon that's compatible with CQC, or if you have no weapons equipped at all and you're just doing it barehanded. You can tell if a weapon is compatible with CQC with the red letters right next to the weapon. You may have noticed, doing a 3-hit combo makes the enemy go flying after Snake does his kick. For a number of reasons, you may want to avoid this. So to avoid all this, we have another option to punch the enemy, but it takes very precise timing with the action button. I'm going to show you here in a second. So instead of doing a 3-hit combo, you can just punch the enemy repeatedly just like this, and it takes very precise timing and you just gotta practice. Now this knockout move is very niche and it's very specific and you may never use it, but you can hang off of a ledge and fall down on your enemy. Now I personally have never used this in any of my gameplays, but I've seen other YouTubers do this and I just think it's very cool and it's just another option to use. Now I've shown you every single CQC move that I know to knock out your enemies. Now it's time for tips and tricks. If you find a food storage area like this, you can blow it up with TNT, or I think a grenade will work as well. And doing this will make the enemy soldiers in the area hungry. And when they're hungry, they'll be easier to knock out because their stamina will be lower. This will get its own video at one point, but just know your enemy soldiers will be distracted by food. If they see food, they're gonna run towards it, and it takes a lot less hits to knock them out. Right here, I'm gonna choke him out, and it only takes 1 or 2 chokes, and he's just done for. And this enemy soldier here, if you remember earlier, I had to drag a soldier for a long time until he got knocked out. But right here, I'm dragging him. Takes like 4 drags, and he's just done for. Before it took like 20 to knock him out. And here, 1 dive and he's out. It took 3 to knock him out before. And right here, 1 3-hit combo knocks him out, when before it took 2 3-hit combos to knock out enemy soldiers. Alright, to end the video, I'm just going to go over every single CQC move again, just to remind you guys and to show you one last time. I also want to make a disclaimer. These moves and these controls are specifically for the Metal Gear Solid Master Collection, which released on the Nintendo Switch, Xbox, and PS5. So if you're playing the original PS2 version, the controls might be a little different because they used the PS2 controller back in the day, and the PS2 controller is pretty different. Also, I have made a few different guides and tips and tricks videos and CQC videos on my channel, so please go watch those if you can. Alright, that's everything I have to say for today. Thank you for watching, and if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Thank you, goodbye.
Huh?